Uh, shall we start?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So all the students who have joined today, welcome all of you. Actually, you are especially the first years are the 19th batch, and I think the second years are the 18th batch. So your Pushpagiri Medical College started in 2002, and from then on, I just want to present to you students from every batch, as Jitin said, who completed their 5 years of studies, then 1 year of internship, and then who went on to work in the real sense of a doctor. In what I mean is to be really, as we always call it, a noble profession, to help the poor and the downtrodden. So from every batch, there are a few students like that. So I just want to show you some of the students from every batch. Now, before I go into that, I just want to, and after that, I want also to show you how some of the students from every batch, how they utilize their holidays. So can you show the first slide? Okay, this is Novin. He is Dr. Novin from the third batch. He was a student in Pushpagiri, and he used to also come for the prayer meetings and all that. At the end of his 5 years, I remember that he came and asked me, "Ma'am, tell me more about how I should prepare for my PG, post-graduation." So you know that initially now you started your undergraduation, there's a post-graduation coming up. So what I advised him is, why don't you take some time off to sit and pray and ask God what you should do, how you should work. So as always, most students immediately after MBBS take up the next PG in PG training, that is a NEET PG and all that. So he decided. So one of his friends, whom you will see again later, his name is Steve. Steve had meanwhile decided to go and work in a rural setup where there were not much facilities. So Steve had decided to leave for Bihar to work for 2 years, and Novin just went with him. So this is Novin's family, and now he's married. He's a 2003 batch. That means I think he's a 2004 batch or so. Now on the left is Novin, his wife, Dr. Angel, and a son who is being carried by a maid who is helping them. Now, can you show the next slide? Now, this is a story of a man in the hospital where Dr. Novin was working. This is a very recent picture of what happened during the COVID days. This man was found in a drainage, actually. What I want to tell you is, after 5 years, when you finish your studies, and don't ever think that you really have to finish your post-graduation to start treating people. So this man, these people, the place where the hospital which I'm showing you is in a remote interior place of Bihar called Rexall. And this place is known for its charity work and its kindness to people, especially the poor and the underprivileged. So this man was found. No one knew who he was. He found in a drainage kind of an area, unconscious. He was a bad drug abuse, a person with drug abuse and all kinds of addictions. So someone found him and brought him to this hospital in Rexall, Bihar. And it was a time when one of our doctors from the 8th batch, his name is Karun. You will meet him later on in the PPT. And once again, show me the previous slide. So this man, I just want to speak a few words about him. So it was in the COVID season. So they initially thought he just had COVID. Was drug abuse and all those things. Later on, if they found that he is having COVID, and COVID was very bad in the initial during the first wave. And this hospital is not a very, it's not like one of Pushpagiri or Believers where there are all kinds of facilities. They just have the minimum facilities to treat patients. And you know that how difficult it is to treat these people. And this man, he was found to have COVID. And they started on hearing the new kinds of treatment. Dr. Karun and his seniors, Dr. Novin, and Dr. Novin is still working there. So all of them together, they gave the latest treatments, whatever they had for COVID. They started dexamethasone and all those things. Finally, this man came out completely, and then he became completely healed. He knew where he was from. There, he left drug abuse completely, and he's now living as a normal, fully healed man, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. So this is what work in such kind of rural places is doing. Not just the big hospitals, but also what with the minimum facilities, if you have God's grace and God's help with you, what just the students of Pushpagiri, that's why I'm saying, I'm proud to say that these people could work there. Can you show the next slide? This is this is again Novin and Steve. Both of them are classmates. Steve, this is Bihar. They are from the third batch. When they were young, much before, so many years earlier, they decided to go to this place. And before they went, I think they took this picture in front of and this is the hospital where they worked, and where they are. This is a hospital which I'm talking about. Wait a minute. Can you go back? I haven't finished. Can you go back to the previous slide? So even Steve, after he finished his 5 years, he didn't know. That's why I said the topic theme of today is a peek into what can happen after 5 years. So these are some of our youngsters, young doctors who took a decision to work in places where there was less facilities. That is what I'm going to talk to you about fully. And so Steve is, Novin is married. I showed you his family. Steve is also married. Can you show Steve's family? Next slide. Next slide. This is Dr. Merin. She's actually from the fourth batch. So Dr. Merin and their children, Jonathan and Jaden. This is a recent picture. Right now, Steve and Merin are working in the place called Champa in Madhya Pradesh. Steve has now become an ENT specialist, and Merin is an anesthesiologist. Can you take the next slide? Okay, this is when they were going to visit the mission hospital. Here you can see again, Novin is the second from the right. This is a Tiruvalla railway station actually, where when they were on their journey to visit the hospital, what they did is, they didn't finally go to, their decision after 5 years or 6 years was based on the mission hospital visit they made in the after their first year or second year exams. They had a small, usually have a 1 month leave at that time, and they decided to go and visit this place. So you can see that this Tiruvalla railway station behind. The person on the right is Libu. He's an endocrinologist now, but he's not in India. He's from abroad. He's in US. He's established a practice there. The person next to him is Novin. Then next is Vaishag. Vaishag is from the 7th batch. He is right now working in Tiruvalla itself in Medical Mission Hospital. Next is Steve, whom you already know. Next is Dr. Amit. The Dr. Amit was doing his post-graduation in your college, Pushpagiri, in radiology. Now he's a consultant. He spoke to you last week. Last week, he is the one who gave the talk. And the person last is from the 6th batch. His name is Abi Uman. Can you take the next slide? Okay, this is again Dr. Amit who spoke to us, and Dr. Nisi is his wife. She's from the 4th batch. Actually, after Nisi finished her undergraduation and Dr. Amit finished his post-graduation, they went to work for some few years in Tamil Nadu in a rural hospital in a place called Odanchatra. It's in Dindigul district of Tamil Nadu, and they worked there for a few years. And it's a place where the medical facilities are given at a very, very less rate, and all poor patients. But then everything is done. There's a group of doctors there who take a very low salary, but they have so much of work satisfaction and trust in God, and they treat a lot of patients. And the disease from the 4th batch again. These are their 3 children, Ezekiel, Nathaniel, and Emmanuel. Can you take the next slide? Okay, this is again from the 4th batch, Shiny. She's in the same place where Nisi and Amit were. That is called Odanchatra, which I told you. Her husband is Sony. Sony is from Pariyar Medical College. After his MBBS, he did his PG in psychiatry from Vellore Medical College. And in between, he worked in an interior place in Orissa alone. He was in charge of a mission hospital where there were no other doctors. But after that, he went and did his post-graduation and now gone back to Tamil Nadu in a rural place again. This is their oldest son, Jonathan. They also have a small son, Jaden now. Can you take the next slide? So this is Jocelyn from the 6th batch. She's a gynecologist now. She's a 6th batch student. Right now they are in working. Both of them come from very well-off families, but her husband is Dr. Ricky. He is actually from Trivandrum Medical College. He finished his MBBS, and from Kottayam Medical College, he finished his MD in general medicine. But both of them decided to go to an interior place in Uttar Pradesh, Fatehpur it is called. And I think it's about around 1 or 2 years since they left. And while they were there, they had first, she conceived and had a child. But at 4th month, she had a miscarriage, and and the baby was lost. In fact, they buried that baby behind the house, a small baby, just completed 4 months behind their house. And after that, God gave them David. Now David is now less than a year, and they've gone back to the same place in spite of all the odds. Actually, right now, Ricky is managing that COVID patients. There are a lot of COVID patients all by himself, and there are not much facilities. Even I told you about Novin and Steve, and both of Novin is actually they're managing a whole lot of COVID patients with very less infrastructure, and God is helping them battle night and day. The strength that God has given them to work in places with less facilities. Jocelyn is a very good singer too. She used to get prizes in all the competitions held in the college. Maybe sometime we can call her for one of these sessions, and she will we'll ask her to sing a song also. And she is, what I want to tell you for your encouragement is, Jocelyn was never the topper in her class. Never. In fact, she always just had average marks, and she always used to be sad. She used to come and tell me, Binandi, I'm not able to study well. I'm not able to get good marks. But she was a girl who trusted the Lord. I just want to tell a special testimony about her. They used to have these final year classes where the students, where the sir used to give every Friday an exam in surgery. And all the students, as usual, used to copy. But Jocelyn took a decision that she will not copy. She will trust the Lord. And so she was not a very bright student also. So invariably she would fail for many of the surgery exam tests which were held like this. But she used to just trust the Lord and do what she could. Finally, I want to tell you, she passed in the first chance all her years without any problem. And before the topper in her class got for post-graduation, she got for post-graduation. It was a miracle. And she finished. Usually by 28, 29 years, people are still applying for PG. By 28, 29 years, she finished her post-graduation. God honors those who honor him. That's something I just want to tell you about her. Can you take the next? Now, this is from the 8th batch, Dr. Karun. Karun is right now doing his post-graduation, his fellowship in Vellore Medical College in emergency department. He is from the 8th batch. All these patients have a lot of stories. This patient was brought to the hospital in a very bad condition. Bihar patients, they don't come early for help. They come with all kinds of problems at the last minute. And finally, with very less infrastructure, as I told you, they treat, and God heals actually. And this is before their discharge. I actually forgot the stories. That's why I cannot tell you more. We took only the pictures because of shortage of time. Maybe some other time, if I take the session once more, I'll be able to tell you in detail. Next session, next slide. This is a girl, a 14-year-old girl who was cheated by her friend and given poison. Poisoning is very rampant in those areas. Organophosphorus poisoning. Because a friend was jealous of her for some reason in school, she was given something to drink which contained organophosphorus, and this girl was brought to the hospital in a very pathetic condition where she was almost going to die. But trusting in God, these people. Now, when I show you, I'm only showing you your seniors from this college. they have seniors who have come from other colleges and also working there. These people have just finished MBBS and they're working as junior doctors. That is when they were able to help their seniors looking after the patient. I cannot, the pictures of all the seniors and everything will be too comprehensive. I cannot do it in such a small session. So anyway, this girl, she recovered completely and went back joyfully home. Next slide. This is again Karun's classmate, Dr. Aksa from the 8th batch. She also, after her completion of her studies, she worked for 2 years in Bihar, just with as an MBA. She's doing a chest tap for a very sick patient. Usually, even in PG times, you don't get such opportunities to do things. But these people, once they go there, they're able to do all kinds of surgical procedures because there is no other postgraduate doctors, MD doctors who are willing to come and work in such places. Aksa worked there very sincerely for 2 years. Now she's married and she's in the US now. Can you, next slide. Now this is again from the 8th batch, Dr. Febi. She is, after 2 years in Rexall, where she worked, I remember going and visiting Rexall when Febi and Aksa and all were working. I was surprised with just an MBBS, how they're working so skillfully as doctors. And Febi, they all of them were doing this. There are a lot of deliveries in that place where, because of lack of gynecologists, these people have to do the cesareans, and all with wonderful results. And Febi is taking the blood pressure, working in the OPD, and this is just a picture. Febi is, after her MBBS, she got an admission in Vellore, CMC Vellore, and she's now finishing her MD. She's waiting for exam. She completed her course and she's getting married soon, and God has provided that also for her. Next slide. This is one of the patients, that's all. This is again Febi from the 8th batch. She is now in a place for mentally challenged children. You can see that these are children with not much intelligence. So this hospital caters to such people also. And there are quite a lot of children here who are taught how to engage in activities which will help them to improve and help them to live a life which is good, and some kind of improvement, so that they're able to be with their sisters and brothers. So the school there caters to that, and you can see Dr. Phoebe sitting there. Next slide. Now this is again Phoebe. This child. So when I asked Phoebe to send me some of the pictures, she sent me this. This child is a cerebral palsy child. That means the child, when it was born, did not get enough oxygen, and the parents abandoned the child in that place. I also remember when I visited Rexall, I remember seeing this child. So this is a cerebral palsy child. Now the hospital is looking after the child and bringing up the child. See the sweet smile on the child's face. So this hospital and such places are places where the doctors and the nurses and the whole team give so much of value to life. In North India, you will find sex discrimination. They don't want female children in their families. So when the female children are born, they abandon the child somewhere. Such things are rampant. That is why Government of India made a strict rule that when you do an ultrasound, you're not supposed to reveal the sex of the child, because in rural places in North India, if it is a female child, they will try to abort the child somehow. This is the child, look at the child smiling, happy at the way the people are bringing up the child. The parents are the people working in the institution. Next slide. This is another child. I think this is what Dr. Karun said. I can't remember. It's a very preterm child. That means there is not so much of facility to look after children who are born premature. But this child, it is these doctors itself who have to go on call and intubate these small babies, preterm, intubate them and all that, and tell them to come out. And this is one such child who came out later as normal. Next. This is Joel from the 9th batch of Pushpagiri. He is now, I can't remember the history of the child. I'll still, what Joel said is, this child, the pediatrician had gone on leave. Joel is now actually, after working for 2 years in Bihar, he got an admission in the first chance for PG in CMC Vellore. And in CMC Vellore, he is now doing 2nd year general medicine. He's also married and he has a baby, girl child. Now this is a patient whom he looked after. This baby was brought in status epilepticus. And at that time, there was no pediatrician. Pediatrician had gone on leave. And just imagine Joel, after just 5 years of training, in consultation with the doctors over phone, he was able to give the right medication and support the baby so that the child became completely normal. And he was telling me, Andy, I was so happy to send this child home in a normal situation with a normal health. And this is him with the baby on his shoulder. Yes. Next slide. This is again Joel. Joel is with another patient. The details of the patient I don't remember, but see how happy the patient is and how happy Joel is. The happiness in bringing life and saving lives in places where there is very minimum facilities. Next slide. Yeah, this is from the 10th batch. Joel was in the 9th batch. This is Dr. Neha from the 10th batch. She is now, this is when she was working there. She worked only for a few months, maybe 3 to 6 months. I can't remember. She's sitting in the OPD there. And she is now doing her MD in pathology in Amrita in Kerala. She's also married. She's married and her husband is doing MD medicine. He finished MD medicine from in Assam. He got an Assam through the NEET. Okay, next slide. This is again 10th batch, Dr. Ruhama. You can see she's sitting there. It's a village clinic where patients are waiting in line. Can you see them? And she is treating one patient after the other. You must remember that none of them knew Hindi when they left here. I still remember Novin learning to count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. And now, and when you go to Bihar, the local language is another language. I think it's called Bhojpuri. And now all these people who didn't know Hindi at all, the way they were treating and interacting and praying for these patients is really commendable. Next slide. Yeah, this is when they were all together. I'm sure you can identify all of them now. The one in the last left end is Joel from the 9th batch, Neha from the 10th batch, Novin 3rd batch, Aksa and Febi from the 8th batch. Maybe at this point of time, they were all working there. Next. This is again from the 10th batch. I already introduced Ruhama, who was in that village ladies clinic. The other one is Anjita. Anjita is also 10th batch. 10th batch is not very far from you. Anjita is now completed 2 years in there, and now she's come back to Kerala to write the NEET. And Karun also you saw Karun. Karun has worked so much in those areas, and all people there are very proud of his kind of work. Next slide. This is a hospital where they're working. Can you zoom it a bit? Yeah, these are some of the hospital visits. Now, I was talking to you till now about how these doctors, after they finished their MBBS, went to Bihar. Now, how did they go to Bihar? So what they will do is, you all can still do this. That is why I showed you this PPT now. All of them, when either after their 3rd year or after their final year, while waiting for the results, they would go as a batch to these places and outing. I know many of you sometimes you may go to Goa or some kind of places to enjoy, but this is a very, very nice, actually I had a lot of pictures, but I just took out only a few. This is actually the 10th batch. I can't remember the names of all the students, but the boy on the right is Jinu. Jinu is now working in Pala, near Kottayam, in Pala as in the government sector. Next slide. This is the gate that you saw. Previous slide on the yeah, the previous slide that you saw, that is the entrance to the hospital. Zoom cheyanda. Zoom in cheyda. Yeah. The hospital name of the hospital is the Duncan Hospital. So that is what I wanted to show you. Okay, next slide.
Next one.
Yeah, this is a 10th batch visiting there. Now this is again the 10th batch. This is again the 10th batch. Yeah, I can identify most of them. The person who's taking the selfie, he is Rijo. All these children used to come for these kind of prayer meetings regularly, and that these meetings have helped them a lot. So Rijo is a topper in his class in 10th batch. And in the first chance he got in a government college, he is now completing his MD in Telangana, I think, in one of the government colleges. He was always getting 80% or 75 to 80% in all his studies. The others is next. Most of them, Ruhama, I can find. I'll just, Neha is there. The person in the middle, you can see a little elderly people there. That is Dr. Philip Finney and his wife. They are, he is an endocrinologist. He is a person of excellent caliber. He studied in AIIMS and he finished his MD from Vellore, PG, UG and PG from Vellore. Then did his endocrinology fellowship from DNB or FNB or something, I think, from AIIMS. And then he chose to go and work his whole youth in this Bihar hospital. And he was a person who used to mentor these young doctors who used to come there. After having worked for many years there, now he has come back to Kerala. Right now, if you go to Believers, you can meet him, Dr. Philip Finney. He is now working in Believers for the past 2 years. Next slide. This is again the 10th batch. And some of you can see, I just showed you some of our students from our college only. In this, you can find Daniel, 11th batch, that he is the one who's far behind, next to Ruhama. The others are, Daniel is now preparing for his NEET PG. He's also married to Dr. Ria. Ria is from Calicut Medical College. Ria is doing a community medicine MD in Trivandrum Medical College. So when Daniel was there, Ruhama was also there. And the other doctors that you see, they are from different Northeast and from other states in India. Actually, I only showed the doctors who went from our hospital. There's a picture where they are also there. Next slide. This is again, I can identify Daniel, and behind, incidentally, Daniel is my son also. He is the 11th batch and he was studying here in Bushbury. The boy standing behind, I know his name. His name is Channa. He is from Assam and he was a very brilliant fellow. When I went there for 2 weeks, in between there were no gynecologists, so I went there for 2 weeks and Channa was in the labor room. And he started doing labor room work. And I remember teaching him how to write a proper history, how to examine patients properly, the major protocols. And after I went, he worked there. After I came back, I just went there for 15 days. After I came back, I heard that he was more brilliant than a real trained gynecologist. So that is Channa. Channa is now gone back to his native place, and his vision is to start something like this in his native place for the benefit of people who can't afford real big centers. The person on the left is Daniel again. Next slide. Now, this is something very interesting. This is again Daniel sitting there. You can see all the doctors in the place, senior doctors. Every time they have a new doctors coming in, what is happening is Daniel is sitting in the center, and here is a senior doctor washing his feet. I don't know, those who have read the Bible, and they remember that Jesus taught his disciples that you should serve one another. You should be a servant to one another. So in memory of that, this is what they do. When the new junior doctors come, the seniors come, and there's a kind of a ceremony there. We say, repeat time after time. Somebody is washing Daniel's feet there. It is something very touching. Can you even imagine a senior doctor, a senior teacher coming and touching your feet? They wash their feet. It's a ceremony. This is found in, if you look into the Bible, you will find it in the book of John, Gospel according to John, chapter 13. Okay, next slide. Now, this is the 11th batch. Again, 11th batch, yes. 11th batch visit. I can actually, Daniel, I already told you, I know the names of all the students because it was Daniel's friends, but some of them I'll tell you. The boy sitting down, his name is Sajid. Next to Daniel, Sajid. This is the batch visit, like how I showed you the 10th batch visit. 9th batch also went, but I didn't get their photos to present now. The 11th batch, behind Daniel, the boy in the brown shirt is Sachin, his friend. And all the others, the girl in the pink top, she's Joanna. Then there is Jerin. Okay, these are the few names that I remember. Okay, this is 11th batch. Okay, they went on a visit after they finally. Next page, next screen. I think this is 11th batch again when they were going back. This is Sajid who is taking the picture. That is Sachin there. And then you can find Jaresh and a lot of people there. Next, next slide. So this is a 13th batch. This is now we are coming very near y'all. This is a 13th batch. In this batch, you can see Irene there. Irene is a girl sitting with a black and pink top down. Actually, Karishma and Neet, Karishma comes for a meeting. Sometimes Karishma and Neet, even Irene comes. Karishma has sung in your freshers first meeting and all that. So Irene is sitting there. Irene is now again married and she is with her husband, Sanup in Salem. She's preparing for entrance, PG entrance. The 13th batch. So when these children go for visits, they're invited by the senior in the evenings. They're invited by the seniors to their houses for a short time of talking to her, interacting. And you find such a difference in these places where there is no difference between senior, junior. And the seniors are, you'll find, I don't know if this is a family. Yeah, there's one family who they didn't have children. They adopted. That is Dr. Prabhu. Yes, Dr. Prabhu. I don't know if he's, I think this is Dr. Prabhu. I'm not sure. Can you zoom in? Can you make it small? Small. Yeah, this is Dr. Prabhu. Yeah, you can see there's a small child in his arms. It is an adopted son. Can you believe it? No one would ever think when they found out that they wouldn't have children, they adopted a son. And I think they have already an older daughter. I can't remember properly. The second is the adopted son. Yeah, this is the second son. So these are the kind of life stories that you see in these places. Next slide. This is the last slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then you can stop screen sharing. Now we will go into a small thought from our topic. Our topic is about what will happen after 5 years. After 5 years, what will you do? Now you just started your first year. Now from the Bible, if you have the Bible, you can look at it. Mark chapter 1. Mark, here we found how your seniors went to places where they were motivated to stay there some for 3 months, some for 6 months, some for around 2 years. And now Novin and all, Steve and all are continuing there in such places. After their PG also they went back. Okay, so what is the difference, or what is the important thing when you finish your undergraduation or your post-graduation? That is something which I want to talk to you about. We are now, you are in this profession for healing, for the healing ministry, isn't it? So I will read out to you one passage in Mark chapter 1, verse 29 onwards. I'll just read it out, you can listen. And immediately after they had come out of the synagogue, they came into the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Now Simon's mother-in-law was lying sick with a fever, and immediately they spoke to him about her. And he came to her and raised her up, taking her by the hand, and the fever left her, and she waited on them. You will find here that there was a Simon, one of the disciples' mother-in-law had fever, a small thing, it is just fever. But what did Jesus do? He went there and took her by the hand, and the fever left her. So when you, even for you seniors who have just started doing clinics, touching a patient like how Jesus did is so important. Touching them. You saw how Joel was carrying a Tarun was standing with an OP poisoning patient. You saw all those pictures, different things. You saw what Jesus took her by, just a small fever. And when Jesus took her by her hand, the fever left her. Now we'll come to another scenario in the same chapter, chapter 1, verse 40 onwards. And I'll read it to you. A leper, this is about a leper. And a leper came to him, beseeching him and falling on his knees before him and saying to him, if you are willing, you can make me clean. And moved with compassion, he stretched out his hand and touched him and said to him, I am willing, be cleansed. And immediately the leprosy left him and he was cleansed. So this we know because Jesus is God's son and he can heal. He is God himself. But what struck me when I was reading is, in those times, leprosy was so bad. Not like in our times when we have the full treatment for leprosy and people can be cured. Even if they have some disabilities due to the disease, they will not be contagious anymore. But in those times, there was no such cure unless God does a miracle like what we heard just now. So what did Jesus do? Jesus went and touched him. Jesus could have just said, be healed, and the leper would have been healed. But Jesus did not do that. He was moved with compassion. So the second thing that I want to tell you, when you see your patients, many of them come from difficult situations, very difficult situations. They will not have money. Maybe someone is coming into your OPD and they are in the days to come, you will start seeing clinical patients, and they may be irritating. We may call them irritating people. But then they may have a lot of problems at home. Many times, as I must have told you before, patients come to my OPD, they may behave differently, but that is because they have problems at home. Maybe their husband does not like them. Maybe they are on the brink of divorce. Or maybe they have a very difficult mother-in-law. For me, it is female patients who come because I'm a gynecologist. They have a difficult mother-in-law. Or they may be having dowry issues which are still so rampant. So all these people moved with, it says Jesus was moved with compassion and he touched him. So the Lord has now placed us as his instruments. When you go and see a patient, say a kind word. Remember that, thank God for the health that you have. It is because of God's grace that you're standing there healthy. I know some of you would have had COVID and you're healed. Thank God for this. Think of the number of people who have not been healed. So always keep on thanking God for the blessings that you have. And so the first thing I said, Jesus, a simple fever, but Jesus took her by the hand and she got up and she served them, it is written. Here Jesus was moved with compassion. So our greatest example is the Lord Jesus. Now the third thing I want to tell you is from the same chapter, verse 20. Verse 20, 22. But they were amazed at his teaching, for he was teaching them as one having authority and not as a scribes. And just then there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, saying, what do we have to do with you, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Jesus rebuked him, saying, be quiet and come out of him. And throwing him into convulsions, the unclean spirit cried out with a loud voice and came out of him. Here we see a man above all people are scared of such a man because he's possessed with an unclean spirit. I do not know whether you have seen such people in Kerala. It is very, very much less. But if you go to the north, you will find a lot of people possessed by evil spirits. But Jesus can heal. God can heal. We read in another portion in the Bible, in the New Testament, where Jesus crosses a river to go to a place where there was a man possessed by another man, possessed by an unclean spirit. He healed him, but after he healed him, the people of the land said, please don't stay here, you go away, they told Jesus. But just for that one man, Jesus went there. So the Lord, even if it looks an impossible disease, God can heal. There is one verse in John's Gospel, chapter 14, verse 12, where it says, Jesus is telling his disciples, after I go to the Father, that means after his crucifixion and resurrection, Jesus saying, you will be able to do greater things than what I have done. This is the promise of God. That is what we saw in the lives of all your seniors who went there as junior doctors and worked there. And they saw how, and you saw how with a simple treatment, how God healed. So this is what I want to tell you, how difficult, maybe a small fever, maybe a big contagious disease like leprosy, maybe something which looks so impossible like a psychiatric problem or even a demon possession. When you are walking with God, you can be an instrument of healing, but then your heart has to be moved with compassion. Learning means loving these people and healing them. Now I'll take you to the last portion, which I want to talk to you today. Mark chapter 2. Here we find, I'm not reading the passage for lack of time. Here we find the passage where Jesus is going where there is a big crowd where Jesus is healing and teaching. And now there were 5 friends, of which one was a paralyzed man, completely bedridden. Now these four friends of his were very upset. Oh, how can we help him? How can we help him? He's already fully paralyzed. So what did these people do? They heard that Jesus was there. If we take our friend to Jesus, he will be healed. So that was their faith. They knew that 100% if we take our friend to Jesus, he'll be healed. So they brought the paralyzed man lying on a stretcher to this house where Jesus was. But when they reached there, the house, it was full of people. Jesus in the house, and there was no way that they could push their way in with the stretcher carrying their friend. So what did they do? Maybe they took permission. We do not know of the owner of the house. They climbed on top of the house, opened the roof, and let the paralyzed man in. Maybe most of you would have read it. And then we know that Jesus healed this man, seeing the faith of the friends, not even seeing the faith of the person. But there is something very important that I want to tell you in this particular healing. That is, the first thing that Jesus told him is, your sins are forgiven. So all the people around him were little angry. What is this? Who is this person? They really did not understand who Jesus was. And the other thing is, they would have thought in their mind, this man came for healing. What is he speaking about sins? But dear children, what I want to tell you is, only Jesus, only God can see into our hearts. Maybe our problem is we are not able to study well, or maybe we don't have enough money, or maybe we have some disease. But the real problem with each of us is actually our sins in our life, which only we know and God knows. What we do in the dark when nobody is looking at us. We can even show that we are very pious. We can carry a Bible with us, or maybe we can go to church or temple or anywhere regularly. But what we do in the dark, remember, God knows. Even our parents will not know. And when God looks at us, that is the most important thing for us. Unless our sins are forgiven, we cannot live a free life. We always be carrying around guilt in our hearts. Things which we do not want to do, we keep doing. Who can deliver us from this? Maybe we do not want to continue in sin. But let me tell you, Jesus can do it in your life. Because he took the punishment on the cross. God himself became man. Not for us to celebrate some festivals, but so that we would not have the punishment for our sins. So that when we die, we would not go to hell. He came down and he, after having lived a life without sin, he gave up his life to die on the cross. Because he was God, he rose up again. And then he said, can I give my life instead of your life? Can you exchange? Can you do an exchange transplant of your heart? God is asking. You give me a heart full of sin. You acknowledge your sin and tell me, Lord, I'm sorry. And I will give you forgiveness. Forgive me. When you pray, God will forgive. And he will forgive all our sins because he took the punishment. Somebody has to take the punishment. He took the punishment 2000 years ago, 2021 years ago, when he died on the cross. It is history. It's not a telltale story. He did that. And then God the Father acknowledged it because he rose up again. And then now he's saying the only thing is you don't have to do a big nercha. You don't have to do so many times anything. But what you have to do is come to your knees in your room or in sitting down or walking around. Pray, Lord, I am a sinner. If any of you will pray this in your heart, Lord, I am a sinner. Please, I understand that you died for me on the cross. Please forgive my sins and come into my heart to stay and make me a child. This will start a big process of transformation in your life. You will live a life which is so blessed. And all the children who became your seniors, who became doctors, have had this transformation in their life, because of which they were motivated to serve people, to serve the poor, to serve the downtrodden. And in the process, they became efficient doctors even before their post-graduation. And some of them, after post-graduation, also have gone back into rural areas. So let me conclude here. As you study your anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pathology, microbiology, pharmacology, forensic, ophthalm, ENT, community medicine, surgery, pediatrics, and OG. Let me tell you, as you study all these different subjects, maybe you started only with anatomy, physiology, or maybe you're into pharmacology and can't remember the names of drugs. Let me tell you, every single bit, whatever memory power you have, be faithful, faithful to God. And these drugs will come to your memory when you're working later on after 5 years. That is why we said a peek into 5 years down the line. Or God will send you some seniors who will teach you how to do it. All of us, I have gone through this these entrance exams and all these anatomy, biochemistry was so difficult for me. So all these exams we have gone through, but God will help you. What I want to say is, studying these subjects is very exciting. Maybe some of it looks boring, but in the final analysis, even every pH, every acid-base balance, whatever you can remember, you remember. You make an attempt, you try to study. God will help you remember. And finally, this knowledge will help you because you are going to apply it in you after 5 years. Maybe some of these people, some of them will later on end up like Dr. Amit is now working in a medical college, in your own college, where he is a faculty. Dr. Nisi is now working in Believers Medical College, where she is teaching in physiology. So some of these things maybe you can later on use, maybe it's academicians. We do not know. But be faithful to the little that you're studying. And then we will see how God will bless your efforts. And I just want to tell you, if you have any difficulty in any of the subjects, any of this, your seniors in college, or even any of us, you can call at any time, or you can WhatsApp at any time. My number is 9447-703-413. Anytime any of you can text me, 9447-703-413, or you can ask my number to your seniors. So what I want to tell you is we are all available for you. First year may be difficult, second year may be difficult, but keep at it. God has given you this course. God will help you to go through it, and you will be, even if you may fail for many exams, don't worry. I know of a student who failed in so many exams. Finally, out of the 15 subjects, I think he got distinction when he finally passed all. When he passed all, finished his course, he would have got distinction in more than half the subjects. So God will help. Don't get distressed at any of the things that you go through. God will help you, and I encourage you to come every week for this meeting. It's only 1 hour. Your seniors and all of us will encourage you, will help you go through this path, and encourage your friends also to come. And may the Lord help you. Matthews.